Hello and welcome to Donington Park for round 2 of Thundersport GB in 2015. Behind me, the podium. Everyone will be fighting to get on that top step here and get some more points on the board after round 1 at Brands Hatch just last month. Welcome to Thundersport Plus.
Yes, a very warm welcome then to Donington Park for round 2 from Kent down south. We move to the East Midlands here at Donington Park, the famous Donington Park. This weekend we are using the national circuit, so no Melbourne Loop. And we will be revisiting this circuit later in the season 2 race on the GP circuit. But let's get ourselves down on the grid ready for the first race here of this show. And it's the Nationwide Traffic Solutions Thundersport 500s and the 500 Senior Cup, and wow, what an entry list we had this weekend in this class. 80 riders went into qualifying. You're about to see the 2 races with the 2 highest qualifiers, effectively the 40 that were in the qualifying that managed to get in the 2 races that you'll see here today. Those that qualified 41st down to 80th will be taking part in cup races, which you'll be able to see on the Thundersport iPlayer on the Thundersport website. So, down to business then here at the front of the Thundersport 500s, and away from the line we go. It's a really good start from pole man Jonathan Perry, number 42, just alongside him, number 49, Adam Horton. Number 96 coming through there, really good start for Jack Tynan, who's got away well. This certainly came on song towards the end of last year and has already got off to a decent start down through Hollywood and then Craner Curves. Then it is number 42, Jonathan Perry from Winsford on the JPR Honda, that has that advantage. Jonathan, who was regularly at the front end last season. Just saw Charlie Oakland there with a nice tight line into the old hairpin. There's number 33, Daniel Taylor from Mexborough further back, but this is already a very nice lead that he's got. Number 106 there, just going into second place, is Joe Barton, of course, who had such an excellent time out at Brands Hatch last month and comes into this weekend as the championship leader. A bit further back, number 17 there, Dave Moss from D-Side, one of the Senior Cup runners. You have to be over 40 to get yourself in that Senior Cup, and Dave is one of them. The championship leader of that particular class is number 53, Rob Morby, and Rob is just in this pack. There he is, number 53, black helmet with the yellow bits, and there's a few riders going straight on there. Oh, it's getting a bit messy into Robert's chicane as 2 or 3 riders went straight on, but it is number 42, Jonathan Perry, that leads. In third place there, we've not mentioned him so far, is Richard Blunt, number 13, another rider that had a very strong Brands Hatch round. He's up at the sharp end. You'll be seeing him also take part in the Golden Era Superbike races that we have in this very show. Wide line there from Joe Barton, but he's still hanging on in there. These 2 already just starting to break away from the rest of the pack. This championship then, well, it's budget racing, but it is massively popular. Such good fun, and most of the riders out there choose to be on the Honda CB 500s. Very little to choose between them. Of course, not every single bike that you pick up is completely identical, but the talent that's spread through this class is remarkable, really. Look how far this championship has come in just the last 5 or 6 years. It is Perry that leads from Joe Barton. Barton now looking to pull out of the slipstream. You just saw his left arm there trying to get up behind the front number board to get as much slipstream as possible, and it's worked out for now as he takes the lead of the race. These 2 already then starting to build quite a nice lead out front. That's in third place, Adam Horton, number 49, with Richard Blunt, number 13, just pulling out alongside him in slipstream, but it looks like there's a change for the lead as Perry just had the inside line into Redgate Corner. Ben Coyle, another rider to look out for. He'll be at the sharp end of this pack. There he is, just behind Adam Horton, in fact, another rider that went very well at Brands at the start of the season. Josh Leaning, 121, has had a good start to the weekend. Sam Smith is back with us, number 199. Remember, he picked up a race win at the end of last season. Peter Bardell, likewise, he's inside the top 10. And John O'Toole is up there with Rob Morby, as we see all sorts of tussling going on here. That's number 9, Dean Armstrong from Seaham. Just one of the rookies there. You can see the orange vest and making a bit of a mess of the old hairpin and allowing through Joe Miller from Hull on the MTech Racing Honda. These are your race leaders though. Number 42, Jonathan Perry, weaving down the back straight there, trying to get rid of the attention of Joe Barton, and that's Ben Coyle that's now moved up into 3rd place. He's got past Adam Horton, number 49, and past number 13, Richard Blunt. And Ben Coyle then, number 14, from Aintree on the JT Sprockets Racing Honda, is now up into a podium place, but not for long. There's a long list of riders there trying to move through, and number 96 joining the party now as well. That's Jack Tynan from Reading. Jack and his dad Pat are both out there racing in the same championship, but Jack really certainly, I think probably with about 3 rounds to go last year, we started to see signs that he could be a proper talent. Now further back, well, just take your pick of senior cup riders there, just going through into turn 1. That was 17, Dave Moss, just going past the rider that definitely isn't a senior. That's Lewis Bramwell. He was actually going underneath there, number 12. And number 888 was in the mix there as well. Kev Liddell, who is one of the senior cup riders on the KLM Motorsport machine. It's already starting to get a bit of, there's a bit of gap and distance there between Perry and Barton. 1st and 2nd place as they come out of Coppice Corner, and someone's on their backside going over into Coppice there. It was a light tumble, but a rider's gone down nonetheless. That looked like Adam Horton. Was that the pink underbelly of the machine there? And it is Adam Horton that's gone down, one of the riders that was always up there fighting for the top 2 or 3 of the championship track. 2014 has gone out at Coppice Corner. Looked like he was sliding along on his bum for some time and looks okay. There is number 7, that's Dave Grace, and he's trying to get as much slipstream as possible, getting himself involved in a lovely battle there with number 62, Daniel Otter from Lincoln. There's so much talent through this grid, but Dave Grace would not want to be outside the points finishers, and at the moment he is in a battle for 15th, 16th, 17th. And so it's so surprising to see him there. He's a rider you expect to see consistently inside the top 10, but there is such a packed out grid of talent that actually looking through the entire top 40, there's a case for saying that all of these riders should really be up inside the top 10. And there is number 62, Daniel Otter, the rookie there with the orange vest, taking some new lines, inventing some new lines through the old hairpin as he just goes past Dominic Cann from Caldecott and the Plastic Surgery.com CB500. There he is, number 23. So good tussles all the way through the field, although Jonathan Perry, it seems, has advantage out front ahead of Joe Barton. This is the battle for 3rd then. 96 there on the sky blue machine is Jack Tynan, fighting it out with Ben Coyle, 2 of our younger riders in the field. Richard Blunt is in there as well, number 13. And then just in the background there with the blue and light yellow machine is number 121, Josh Leaning. Then further back we've got Smith, Bardell, Morby, O'Toole, Leaning, Osler. Lewis Osler, I know for a fact, will want to be a little further up the field than that. He's definitely capable of it, but we'll have to just wait and see how he fares a little later on through the season. And that's a lovely move in the old hairpin there by Ben Coyle on Jack Tynan. But look at who's coming around the outside of the pair of them. Brilliant speed being shown there by Richard Blunt as he manages to nail the pair of them and now moves himself into 3rd place. Meanwhile, out front, that lead that Jonathan Perry had has just been cut down slightly now from Joe Button. The pair of them are out front now by a good 4 or 5 seconds they've got over the guys in 3rd and 4th places. So Perry it is that still just about has that advantage. They break now down into this right-left flick onto the start-finish straight, Robert chicane, and then, well, we've not got long left. And Joe Barton there really getting on the power nice and early as they go across the line, and now they're side by side and the last lap flag is out. Joe Barton there has the inside line, number 106. Will he have a look up the inside here? No. Jonathan Perry closes the door, but this could be a very tasty final lap indeed here as Joe Barton looks to extend his championship lead by taking a win here through Hollywood and then into Craner Curves. This can catch you out very quick on these 500s, almost full chat. And that's one overtaking opportunity gone there for Joe Barton into the old hairpin. Meanwhile, in the background, it is Jack Tynan that has just got his nose ahead for that final podium place in third. But Joe Barton has now managed to fight his way through as they exited the old hairpin. He's got the power down, and now there's just a few corners remaining for these two. Joe Barton it is that now leads as they exit McLean's and go up towards Coppice Corner. Jonathan Perry's going to have to get himself in the slipstream, and he did have some excellent drive there. Tynan's been pushed down a fourth as Coyle now is in third place. Onto the back straight we go then. It's number 106, Joe Barton, the championship leader that has the advantage, but now pulling out of the slipstream is 42. Jonathan Perry is going to have to make himself very wide indeed as they go into the final chicane, and there's not enough room there for Barton. He almost gets his nose completely chopped off and he's lost all momentum. It will be Perry that wins the first race here in the 500s, and he's delighted with that. Joe Barton has to settle for second this time, and in the background there for third place it is just Jack Tynan that manages to get it. There's 0.08 of a second between three riders there in that fight for the final podium spot. Jack Tynan it is that takes it. Well done, Jack, ahead of Ben Coyle in fourth and Richard Blunt in fifth, and it's Josh Leaning that takes sixth place. Top three then you can see there, Perry, Barton and Jack Tynan, and in the Senior Cup it's Rob Morby with the win ahead of Colin Mooney and Stephen Hall.
Jonathan, fantastic win, first race here on TV day here at Thundersport, Donington Park. You must be chuffed to bits with that.
Yeah, I'm over the moon with that. Had a good day yesterday and just hoping to carry on today as well, really.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And I see you've got some sponsors you'd like to thank.
Yeah, just Puteline Oils, they support me. You support me for a while now, so I'd just like to give them a big thanks. Hell Brake Lines have come on board this year, so I'd like to give them a thanks. Also, I'd just like to give a mention to Colin Port Images and also Green Flag Photography as well. Photographers don't really get a mention, and they stand out in all conditions taking pictures of us, so yeah, thanks. Brilliant.
Well, don't go anywhere, folks. Coming up after the break, we have the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersports. Welcome back to Donington Park. A few nasty grey clouds overhead at the moment as we prepare for the first race of the show for the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersports and Steel Sports. There's Robert Goodall, who was excellent at Brands Hatch just last month, but on pole position is number 18, Carl Foster, there on the Yamaha R6. Further down the grid, number 26 there, Ryan Cooper on the Coops Racing HQ Yamaha R6 also. Number 2 there is Sam Nicholson from Nottingham on the Motorpoint Derby Yamaha, so this very much a home round for Sam, who has been with Thundersport for many years now and he's doing very well. He's regularly fighting at the front end of these races, so here we go away from the line and down in towards turn 1, and it's going to be a decent start there for number 75. That's Robert Goodall from Chichester then on the AW Motorsport Yamaha. So this a championship then for, realistically speaking, 600s of the 90s, I guess you could say. There's a few Ducati 748s, of course, out there. And in terms of the steel sports, well, back in the day, of course, there were some steel frame bikes of a similar period, so they have their own cut points, but they score points overall in the Golden Era Supersport as well. If you think back to the 90s, when Supersport really started coming onto the scene, this class used to be known as the Axe Murderers because there was so much fighting going on. Well, it's certainly popular here with this field, as you can see. Loads of them flying through around Schwantz Curve and up in towards McLean's. There's number 90, Owen Thompson from Fenton, but out front, the two riders that led the championship in first and second at the end of Brands Hatch, 75, Robert Goodall, who was second overall when we left Kent, and the leader overall coming into this weekend, Carl Foster on that yellow Yamaha R6. Ryan Cooper, incidentally, was third in the championship when we left as well. That's number 24, Andy Scanlon on the orange Yamaha in 4th place. So the Yamaha R6 at the moment seeming to be the weapon of choice in this championship, and that is of course the earliest available Yamaha R6, because that came into production at the end of the 90s, as opposed to of course the Yamaha R6s that you see racing in various super sports and formula classes of today. So it is number 75 then, Goodall, that has this advantage, but with a very tight line into McLean's, and that might just lose him a bit of momentum. Further back there is number 28, that's Martin Bloomfield from Tarporley. He was a regular on the podium this time last year in the championship, but boy oh boy have things changed in this series in the last 12 months. We've got their own grid for these guys now. That's a lot more candidates to overtake for Martin Bloomfield. He's got a bit on his plate here this season. There was Carl Foster in 2nd place, just thinking about a move being lined up on Goodall into Robert's hair chicane, but it didn't quite work out. 3rd place there for 26, Ryan Cooper from Leeds on the Coops Racing Race HQ Yamaha, and then 24, Scanlon trying to hold on to the top 3 at the moment. Andy Scanlon from Thatcham on the Stubble Racing Yamaha, just got a couple of tenths to bridge there if he wants to be properly part of this fight for the win overall. So far, no one really asking any questions of Robert Goodall, the race leader. Carl Foster trying to find a way through, but Goodall really is taking tight lines. It's almost as if he's decided on the opening few laps that he's going to try and defend, and that will allow riders to get on the power that bit earlier. And watch Goodall's line as he goes into McLean's here. Very tight line. He's not allowing anyone through. Interesting lines then from the race leader here. You'd think this was the last lap, and he's trying to stop anyone from going past. And now here comes Cooper, who's gone up from 3rd place now into 2nd, and he's thinking, well, I'm not going to hang about here. I think I'd probably like to get through. Now they need to get into the slipstream, and already Cooper's pulled out of the slipstream, and he's side by side with Goodall. Goodall leaves it later to break though, and could just chop off the nose of Cooper, and does lead still as they go through this game. Meanwhile, further back, this is the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th place, etc. Number 36 there is Mark Foster from Scunthorpe, but this is the battle we wanted to see out front, and now Ryan Cooper looking to go up the inside, and finally someone shows their front wheel to the race leader, and it is now Ryan Cooper that has the advantage. But I am intrigued by these racing lines that Goodall takes around most of these turns. Watch him as we go around Craner curves. He's over the curbs on the inside. I wonder if he's next car racer. He's got car racing lines almost here. It's absolutely fascinating. It worked for him over at Brands Hatch, but at the moment he's just there in 2nd place, and he's just lost a bit of ground on the race leader. Further back there you can see, oh blimey, that's not the, well, I'll tell you what, I was about to say it's not the quickest line as the crow flies. It actually is. It's just not the grippiest of lines there for number 32, Chris Froggatt from Chichester. He's done very well actually to stay on board that bike all the way down there, because that's a bit hairy on the grass at that kind of speed, so well done to you. Meanwhile, out front, it is Goodall that retakes the lead. There's some traffic in amongst them as well, but Goodall has managed to take the lead. He is very late on the brakes, and that is why he's managing to stay out front. But I have to say that the racing lines that he's taking does mean that the leading pack are getting bunched up quite a lot. 3rd place there is still Carl Foster. 4th is still Andy Scanlon, who will, at this moment in time, probably still fancy his own chances of getting himself onto the podium. Through Craner curves once more, and that's slightly better there from Goodall, and now they're going to have to find another way around. You can just see the speed there that Cooper in 2nd place was carrying through the old hairpin, and that will really give him some lovely momentum around Schwantz curve as we then head up into McLean corner here, and it is still Goodall that has the advantage. So far so good. Lap times, well, Goodall and Cooper at the moment are lapping in the 1:16s. It's Carl Foster in 3rd with the fastest lap of the race so far, 15.6. But at the moment he just can't quite get on terms with him, although he has got up into 2nd place. They're about to come up on number 96, that's Ian Evans from Chepstow, who's having a go out on the Ducati 748, one of the British Army runners and riders that we have, and Ian's having some fun out there, but he's about to just be overtaken there by race leader number 75, Robert Goodall from Chichester. 2nd place now then for Foster. They're coming up on some more traffic. At number 270 is Nathan Sackelt, another British Army rider, and he has a look over his shoulder and sees a train of bright bikes out here fighting for this overall win. Now the top 9 of the field at the moment in this race are all Golden Era Supersport machines. In terms of the steel frames that I mentioned, the top 3 are all bunched together, and we've got number 19 Jack Haverkamp that leads the way. He's in 10th place up ahead of John Pugh and Chris Spink at the moment. Those 3 in 10th, 11th and 12th respectively overall in the race, but they could find themselves on the podium as things stand in the steel frame section of the championship. But out front overall for the outright victory at the moment, Robert Goodall it is that has this lead on the Yamaha R6. Foster running wide in the background there in second place, and now Cooper capitalises and moves into second overall. It's still Andy Scanlon on the orange R6 in 4th place. It seems like Robert Goodall's lines are much better now in this second part of the race. It was very odd as the last lap flag comes out. I'm not sure anyone's going to have an answer for Robert because he is so late on the brakes, although this could play quite a key part. Number 31 and number 69, Aaron Mellish, Steve Chadwick there just up ahead of the race leaders, so a bit of traffic to deal with here for Goodall, and he deals with it quite well. He's already got past a lot of them as they go around into Craner curves. You can see Cooper there in second place trying to do all sorts to find his way back up front with Goodall, but it's not to be so far. If Goodall can just neatly put together 5 or 6 more turns, he'll have this race win in the bag, but Cooper does seem to have quite a bit of momentum there in second place, and Scanlon still in the hunt as well, with Foster for 3rd and 4th. In fact, Scanlon there's got a bit of work to do. I think he's going to miss out on the podium. Further back there we see another rookie. That's number 38, Alex McFun from London, another British Army rider. I'll have to catch up with him, make sure I am actually pronouncing that right. Here we go then, into the chicane for the final time. Cooper has done very well to close the gap here, but it's going to be Goodall that takes the race win, number 75. He looks over his shoulder before he crosses the line, which is a bit brave. Cooper really was closing on that final lap. It is Carl Foster with 3rd overall and Andy Scanlon in 4th. Not a lot separating the top 4 here in the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersports. It's Goodall with the win, a couple of tenths clear of Ryan Cooper. Foster in 3rd ahead of Scanlon, Andy Whale and Martin Bloomfield. Yamaha R6s there, all inside the top 6 overall. Robert Goodall then ahead of Ryan Cooper and Carl Foster in the Supersport, and in the steel frames it's Haverkamp winning from Pugh and Spink.
Robert, winner. How good was that? That was so close, man.
Yeah, I really wanted to just try and stay at the front and keep out of trouble, but it just wouldn't happen. They kept coming past. I'd get back past them. The whole race I was on my toes, and I just got a couple of clear laps, and I think that gave me the advantage into the back markers and managed to hold it to the line. So I just absolutely love that. It was just so good. I really, really wanted that win. So.
Well, that was so good to watch, I can tell you, because it was probably closer than even you realised. Have you got anybody to thank?
Yeah, I thank My Security Systems, Aaron Rowe Fitness, my fiance, he's helped me out this weekend, and Glenn, my mechanic, he's done a top job. Everything's been absolutely spot on. So, yeah, everyone that's helped, it's great, thanks.
Jack, you're doing better and better here. I mean, unbelievable.
We come from North Gloucester to Thundersport to bring my racing along, and we don't qualify very well. Qualified 27th yesterday, had a bit of a headache Saturday, so come back for Sunday, went and won. Happy days.
Well, as my boy would say, you're a Sunday man, which is great. Who would you like to thank?
My old man again for building me bike when it broke down yesterday as well. Motorcycle tyre services and Baxi boilers.
Well, we've seen the Super Sports, now it's time for the Super Bike. Sparklight Racing, Golden Era Superbike and Street Fighters coming up next. Welcome back to Donington Park. Good girls, looking a bit chilly there. The weather is closing in on us a bit. We're expecting a bit of rain, but so far we're dry. There's John Dieterman on the Baxi Yamaha 750 here as we get ready for the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Superbikes and Street Fighters. Richard Blunt on the Portico Sport Kawasaki ZX 750. No one on pole at the moment. That was Ryan Strafford on the second row, number 57. A few Street Fighters out there to talk about. We'll get on with that in a moment or two. But the rights are out now, and so we're good to go. It was Peterman, number 18, that left Brands Hatch with a 10-point championship lead over Richard Blunt, with Andy Windsor third and Ryan Strafford fourth. As they all fly through Redgate corner. Very easy to get wrong, Redgate, on the opening lap. It's so easy to run wide and end up on the dirt, but everyone's fine so far. A rocket ship start, though, for the Kawasaki there of Richard Blunt, who goes into Craner Curves with a bit too much speed there and almost runs out of circuit and onto the grass. At the back of the field, number 98, a regular with us, Rob Pragnell, and number 45. Andy Castle as well. So it's Blunt that leads from number 30, Andrew Windsor from Chichester on the AW Motorsport machine. Someone's just gone straight on there as we go around Schwantz Curve, and in fact hasn't managed to get it stopped at all and fly straight through into the barriers there. Now, is that Brad Davey who's just gone down? It is Brad Davies. Something's gone horribly wrong there for Brad on his beautiful, well, it was beautiful, Ducati 916. But he's gone straight, and he's very lucky not to wipe anyone else out there as they go across the line to start another lap. As for the Street Fighters, well, we've got Martin Stanier, last year's Street Fighter Extreme Champion, number 121, just going through the field here, just up behind number 9, Mike Horbury, who's out there on a Suzuki GSX-R 750. Stanier got new leathers there by the looks of things for the start of this season, and we've got also Paul Cunvin, Liam Johnson and Mick Riddle to look out for in the Street Fighters, and as and when we see them, I'll point them out to you. There is Windsor, though, number 30 on the Suzuki, slightly different colour scheme for him as he tries to hunt down this man, Richard Blunt, who's had a very solid start to the season. That's Ryan Strafford there in third place, number 57, last year's Street Fighter B champion. Of course, he was also the Street Fighter Extreme runner-up, and this year getting used to life on that Honda SP2 that he's purchased from Ollie Dupree, who has just announced, realised on social media in the last few days, that he is to become a father. So congratulations, Ollie. But your old bike is, at the moment, Ryan Strafford is racing your old bike very well indeed. There he is, number 57, just behind Windsor here, number 30, Andrew Windsor from Chichester, who's having a very good start to the season. Across the line we go then, just behind Strafford there, number 46 on the yellow, white and black Yamaha 750 on the SMD tyres sponsor machine is Greg Lewis. Greg, who's been racing since I can remember anyway, and before that. So it's good to see Greg out there, always very competitive. And then it's number 18, John Dieterman, who came into this weekend as championship leader. Things just at the moment not really kind of going together here for Dieterman. You remember this time last year at Donington Park, he was so dominant in the races, but actually had some reliability issues. It didn't quite work out for him, but at the moment you expect to see John, when he is finishing races, well at the front. It's not so at the moment, as we see a few of the Street Fighters there. We just saw Stanier 121, and there is Paul Cunvin, number 81. Just in between those two is Mike Horbury from Cottingham. Mike, who last year spent the season, of course, in sort of cameo appearances, I suppose you could say, on a Yamaha R6 in the Golden Era Supersport, but has jumped aboard the larger Suzuki, just getting used to things there. And there's Greg Lewis, number 46, just behind Strafford. There's 121 Stanier. There's number 9, Mike Horbury. And then past Mike Horbury, we have Paul Cunvin. Further back, other riders to mention, Richie Harrison is out there, number 48. Vince Carlton, number 37, inside the points. Mick Riddle, as I mentioned before, out one of few riders in this championship that are riding under the Royal Air Force Motorsport Association banner, number 44 as usual. Liam Johnson is out there in the Street Fighter Extreme class, number 38, but this is Windsor now, second overall in this race, number 30. Third overall in the championship when we exited Brands Hatch, just 4 points ahead of Ryan Strafford, and he's just ahead of him on circuit. Number 8 there is Gareth Skinner from Hurst Green on a British Army Racing Aprilia Melee, a bike that can be a weapon in this championship. We've seen it win a few races before, but at the moment they're all got a bit of a job on their hands trying to catch this one. Richard Blunt has a huge lead out front on the Portico Racing Kawasaki. Lovely riding style as well here from Richard Blunt. Really does get everything tucked in on that ZXR 7, and then Further back we have here Stanier just coming under attack from Mike Horbury, and then Cunvin a little further back. That lead of Bloods at the moment is a full 10 seconds back to number 30, Andrew Windsor. I wonder what has happened to John Dieterman, number 18, and whether he ran into some problems early on in this race, because his lap times are quicker than what his position suggests at the moment. Traffic there for the race leader. Mark Biswell's just about to be lapped by race leader Richard Blunt. Well, you can see the lead. This is the gap back to second place. In fact, there's John Dieterman. So 30 Windsor, then 57 Stratford. John Dieterman, he must have run into some trouble or gone straight on somewhere. I wonder if he got caught up earlier on when they were all flying around Schwann's Curve, because he's closing in again now on that group for second and third place. It's either that or he's been listening to the commentary. There's number 37 and 38. 37 is Vince Carlton, two completely different bikes you see there. Vince Carlton on a Ducati 996, and then it was a Yamaha 900, a Street Fighter Extreme machine of Liam Johnson. Across the line for race leader there then, Richard Blunt, and he's got this one in the bag by the looks of things. Then a couple of back markers there. That was Mark Biswell and Rob Pragnell. This is your battle for second overall. That across the line was number 30, Windsor, then Stratford, and Stratford is really closing in now. That was a good lap from Stratford, but they've both got company in the form of championship leader, or he certainly was earlier on, John Dieterman. He won't be for much longer. This is number 50 and number 86. 50 is Robert Tucker, 86 John Gibson. But your race leader's already through your shot. There he was, number 13, Richard Blunt. Unlucky for some, but not for Richard at the moment. The rider from Bury St Edmunds flying through, and Ryan Stratford has now made it up into second place and has gone past number 30, Andrew Windsor. And Windsor could find himself falling from second to fourth here, because John Dieterman's flying through as well. There's Paul Cunvin. He's got his nose up ahead of Martin Stanier now in terms of our Street Fighter runners. Mike Horbury's got ahead of the pair of them. Oh, that's not fallen brilliantly for Richard Blunt, but he's got enough insurance in the pocket at the moment to sort this one out. Further back here now, John Dieterman moves up into third place. So poor Andrew Windsor has gone from second down to fourth. Ryan Stratford it is in second then. He's worked so hard in this race to get himself up to second, and I think he's about to get mugged of that second place by John Dieterman, because Dieterman's times are very quick indeed. Not long left in this race at the moment, with the last lap flag out. Richard Blunt here in full control. There's Greg Lewis, there's Horbury, number 9. Then Stanier has now got back up ahead, number 121 here, of Paul Cunvin. So last year's Street Fighter Extreme champion back with us here and looking to get himself back on that top step. And he's getting very close to Horbury there as they go through Craner Curves. This is your race leader though, and it has been quite some performance here from Richard Blunt, who's got enough time to look over his shoulder on the exit of McLean's. You'd have to probably wait a while before you saw anyone, I'm afraid, for the rest of the field anyway. It is still Stratford in second and third for John Dieterman, but Dieterman, his lap time last time around was a good 4 or 5 tenths quicker than Ryan Stratford, and I just wonder whether we're going to see John Dieterman take second place and really limit the damage that could be done to him here by Richard Blunt. Across the line for Richard, and he looks rather intrigued at who's going to be coming across the line here in second place. A fantastic win for him, and in second place we're going to have to wait a moment, and there they are in the background. That looks close between Stratford and Dieterman, and on the line it was by 0.02 of a second. John Dieterman that gets it ahead of Ryan Stratford. Andrew Windsor finishes in 4th, Greg Lewis 5th, and Martin Stanier in 6th, who wins the Street Fighter Extreme. There's Blunt, Dieterman and Stratford, the top 3. And then in the Street Fighters there you can see Paul Cunvin ahead of Mick Riddle. That's Agent Teasdale in there with him as well. And Street Fighter Extreme winner, Stanier from Cunvin and Johnson.
Richard, fantastic race. I mean, you must be loving this, be back in this class.
Yeah, loving the class and loving getting on a bike that works. We've spent Pearson Mechanics spent countless hours getting the bike ready, and it's nice to actually get some results for him now, because he's put, I hate to think how many hours in, and the stress and rigour that we've gone through to get the bike set up. We're learning a lot now, suspension, we're learning how to set it up, and it shows out there. We're starting to pull away, so bloody awesome, loving it.
Well, it is providing some fantastic racing. So you've already thanked some people. Anybody else?
Yeah, massive thanks to Rock Oil, Portico Sport for supplying the bikes, and Phil Martin, who was out yesterday riding. His first time he's ridden his bikes, and I've been playing with him for the past year, so it's nice for him to get out and finally. And Hell Brake Lines, my father and his company, as well as I'm trying to think of anyone else. Rock Oil as well, especially to say they've been following us for a few years, and DP Brakes as well. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone for the help. It's really needed. So.
So Paul, yet another win. You must be loving this. You're looking in good shape, mate.
Yeah, won the first 7 now, so yeah, pretty happy with that. Had a good race. The bike's been really good again. Had a few problems with quick shifter, a few other little niggles, but nothing major. Put a new set of tyres on and ended up managing to pass Martin at some point in the race. So had a little scrap with Martin, but then he got the better of me. So Street Fighter winner and second in the Extreme. So yeah, more than happy with that. So I'd like to thank Pitty's Custom Vinyls, the RAF Motorsport Association, Team RAF, Whiz Sliders and Hell Brake Lines.
Martin, Street Fighter Extreme winner here at Donington Park. I wasn't 100% sure when you didn't turn out at Brands whether we were going to see you this year.
Yeah, I can't seem to get it out of my system just yet. I still keep coming back and having a bit more, but this weekend we've gone from Dunlops to Pirelli, so we're just getting there clip by clip. We're not there yet, but yeah, we're enjoying that, being out with the Golden Era, having a bit of fun with them boys as well. They seem to have similar kind of pace, but can't keep up with them front boys. They're quick boys, them. I can't handle them, but yeah, having good fun.
Excellent. Well, it's great to see you, and I hope it continues, mate.
Yeah, and me, mate. Yeah, she'll be back for more.
Well, here we see a slow-mo of Richard Blunt. He's got to shake himself down, ready for race 2 for the Thundersport 500s, coming up in a moment. Welcome back to Donington Park, the National Circuit, ready for race 2 for the Nationwide Traffic Solutions Thundersport 500s and the 500 Senior Cup. Jonathan Perry, race 1 winner on pole position. Fingers crossed for number 49, Adam Horton, after falling over at Coppice Corner earlier on. There's Josh Leaning, he and his brother Will out there. You can see Will in the background there, number 32. There's Ben Coyle, 14. 13, Richard Blunt, number 92 on the red. 500 there was Peter Bardell. So just a long list of riders that really could feature at the sharp end of this fun Thundersport 500 race. And look out, of course, for Joe Barton as well, number 106, who's just trying to find his way through from the inside of the pit wall. And that was a hell of a start there for number 106, Joe Barton, as they all find their way through Edgate Corner. There's probably enough room for 4 or 5 of these abreast around there. And it is Jack Tynan that's got himself out front. So Jack Tynan with an excellent start there ahead of Joe Barton. Then Jonathan Perry. Ben Coyle got himself off well. As looked at Jonathan Perry, number 42, in about 5th place as they all fly round into the old hairpin. That's number 94 there, Joe Miller, just going up underneath Clive Mindham, just at the back of this field. As I mentioned before, 80 riders went into qualifying for this race, and you're looking at the top 40. The remaining 40 riders will be out in the Cup race, which you will be able to see on www.thundersportgb.com. Click on the iPlayer and you'll be able to hear the commentary on that one. It's Joe Barton that now gets his nose out front, ahead of Jack Tynan, number 96. 3rd place for Coyle. 4th place for 42, Perry. Then that's Peter Bardell just going into 5th place, number 92, ahead of Adam Horton. Then Richard Blunt. Then 121 is Josh Leaning across the line, and then Rob Morby, number 53, who leads the Senior Cup group. Then it's 199, Sam Smith, you can see there. Then it's Will Leaning, 32. Then number 27, John O'Toole. And, well, just a number of riders flying through there. Chris White, Dominic Cann, Steve Wood, Dave Grace, Matt Snow, Cole Mooney, another of the Senior Cup riders, Lewis Bramwell. Just so much talent in this field as Peter Bardell there goes a little wide through the old hairpin and almost touches the front wheel of Jack Tynan, who's now lost a place to Richard Blunt. One slight wrong move in this championship or in any of these races and you can lose not just one place but a couple. There's Jonathan Perry, who won the first race and is now flying his way up into 2nd overall. Perry, who picked up 42 points, which is exactly the same as his race number, at Brands Hatch. So he's got a bit of catching up to do in the early stages of this championship, but we always say you cannot win the championship in the first round. You can certainly lose it. He's picked up points, that's the main thing, and he's now closing down on Joe Barton. Peter Bardell looking very lively there in 4th place, number 92. There's number 96, Jack Tynan, trying to hold off Richard Blunt. In fact, I'm not sure he knows he's there at the moment. Then it's Josh Leaning, and then just behind Josh Leaning is number 49, Adam Horton, and then Rob Morby, then Sam Smith and John O'Toole. Right, we'll try and catch your breath somewhere in here. Rob Morby there, this home race for number 53, the rider on the Racing Lines Derby machine. It's Barton that has this advantage though, and now the challenge for third place there from Peter Bardell. There's 1-2-1. One of the leading brothers, that's Josh from Scunthorpe. So Barton it is that leads, 106. Number 42 is Perry, and there is Peter Bardell again. Whenever you see a rider going up the inside or around the outside, at the moment it seems to be Peter Bardell, number 92, the rider from Campton. So he's up into second now and chases down race leader Perry. You can see in the background there the trees moving around with the wind. We are expecting some rain here. We'll wonder how long it'll be before we get some spits and spots of rain. It is 106 Barton that leads from number 92 there, Bardell. Then number 14 moving into third place, Ben Coyle ahead of 13, Blunt. Then Jack Tynan putting out the slipstream. This is forming into rather a decent race here in the Thundersport 500s. It's still Barton that has this advantage. Blunt way out wide there using the exit of pit lane. There's Perry in fourth place. Jack Tynan then has now moved up into third overall, looking for another podium as Joe Barton looks to check out. And this is as big a lead as we've seen anyone have in this race so far. There is Blunt just up behind number 14. That's Ben Coyle he's chasing. The winner's going to come from one of these guys. At the moment though, it is Joe Barton that has that advantage. Number 106 there, Joe from Wakefield on the HB motorcycles, and that's really wide there from Peter Bardell. And that exactly, well, that just tells you exactly what we mentioned earlier on. One mistake, you can lose a couple of places. Well, he's lost 4 there, Peter Bardell. This is number 12 and number 101. Number 12 is Lewis Bramwell, 101 Colin Mooney. Colin Mooney at the moment just outside the points, can you believe? And he's second overall in the Senior Cup. Rob Morby still leading that one, and that was an aggressive move, but it was clean from Ben Coyle, number 14, as he goes past Jack Tynan and Jonathan Perry there. Yeah, well, if he wanted a chance of getting a double win here today, it's not quite panning out the way he wants it to, because as he gets himself embroiled in this mess for second place, he is watching Joe Barton disappear out front, and now he moves into second place, and there's movements going on all sorts everywhere here in second place all the way down to 6th. It's a bit like watching a World Superbike race here as everyone tries to find a way of chasing down Jonathan Ray at the front of a World Superbike race. Well, they're all tripping each other up at the moment, but Jack Tynan it is with second place now ahead of Jonathan Perry. There is Peter Bardell. I tell you what, Pete, you could do with a bit of polish out on that machine. There's some well turned out motorcycles here in this championship this year, but it doesn't look like he's done an awful lot else other than just jumped on board that for a few rounds. Pete Bardell, number 92 there, just in around, well, he's in at the moment 6th place. And he was up into second, but for running wide over at McLean's a couple of laps ago, and now he's moved down into 6th place. He gets in the slipstream. They're all trying to get past each other down the back straight here, and now Pete Bardell has gone from 6th up to 3rd, and he barges a few out of the way in the process. Jack Tynan's gone from 2nd down to 5th. So some excellent racing here in the battle for second place and 3rd in the Nationwide Traffic Solutions Thundersport 500s, but they are letting Joe Barton get away. Ben Coyle now, it's his turn to try and hunt him down there in second place, and there is your race 1 winner down in 6th place, Jonathan Perry. A lot of points difference, you know, between 1st and 6th. It's 25 for the win, and for 6th place you get just 10 points. So that one mistake can cost you potentially 10 or 15 points, as we see there just going through. Number 6, Jordan Watling from Doncaster on the JWR Honda, and sporting the number 6 in memory of the late Ian Olkins, who sadly lost his life a year ago today, a rider that was racing in this championship. There is this battle then for second place that continues. That's number 13, Richard Blunt, and that's Jack Tynan now going underneath Peter Bardell. Ben Coyle has split himself away from that group there then for second place, and is now catching Joe Barton out front, which is exactly what they really needed to do at the start of the race. Richard Blunt there is in 3rd place, and then well, try and pick one of those guys that's in fourth at the moment. It's Perry that just manages to go off into fourth for the time being, ahead of Peter Bardell, number 92, who's got lots of momentum coming out onto the start-finish straight for the final lap then. Barton it is that leads this one. Ben Coyle's going to try and snatch it away from him, but he's going to have to bring to the table here the most perfect lap if he wants to try and hunt down the leader here, Joe Barton. Barton looking good for another 25 points in this 2015 championship. What a season this is going to be. 14 then Coyle in second. Third place, well, who knows? Throw a blanket over these four. Jack Tynan there on the Sky Blue machine, number 96, has it so far from 13 Blunt, 42 Perry and 92 Bardell. But there really is no knowing who could end up on the podium in just a few corners' time. Barton so far not putting a foot wrong on this final lap, and Ben Coyle is catching, and his last lap was very good as we see a Marshall just walking back to his post there. There'd have been an incident further back. There is Dominic Cann just up there with number 28 Stephen Wood. But your race leader is now going to be your race winner. Joe Barton goes through the final chicane and will take the checkered flag to take 25 points ahead of 14 Ben Coyle, and in third place across the line it is just Jack Tynan with another podium. Superb day's racing there for Jack. It's fourth place in the end, going to Peter Bardell, fifth for Perry and sixth for Leaning, and that's because number 13 Richard Blunt has been disqualified for post-race technical infringement. Joe Barton it is then with the race win, and there he is pictured with Ben Coyle on the left and Jack Tynan on the right of your screen. And in the Senior Cup it's Rob Morby, the winner from Colin Mooney and Dave Moss. Now then, in the points, there you see it, 31-point advantage for Joe Barton, ahead of Ben Coyle. Perry's lifted himself up to third. Jack Tynan, solid, up to fourth. Blunt falls to fifth. Rob Morby sixth, and in the seniors, Rob Morby a 30-point advantage over Colin Mooney. Dave Moss third, and it's Stephen Hall, Clive Mindham, and Nick Turner.
Joe, I know this is only the second round of the season here at Donington Park, and we've just had Brands Hatch before that, but I mean, you look like you've got your heart set on big things for this year.
That's the idea. I mean, I'm here to win the championship, you know, I'm not here to ride around, so yeah, every point counts, and had a bit of a disaster yesterday, but no, we're getting there now. Normal service has resumed, so yeah, glad to be back at the front.
But difficult conditions out there.
Yeah, the wind is so bad coming down the back straight that you can't even pull sixth gear, so it's, you know, you've really got to listen to the bike and see what it's doing. But yes, it's been okay, it's been a good weekend.
Well, that's the difference, of course, between an experienced rider and a non-experienced, because you change with the conditions. But who would you like to thank, Joe?
Yeah, massive thank you to STG Performance, HB Motorcycles, everyone that's come down to watch today, my girlfriend, my dad. Big thank you to Ian at Classic Race Replicas, and I think that's about it. All the marshals, medics and officials, thank you.
Rob, look, you're going at it again here, and you've got that target on your back, and you know everybody's chasing you. Do you find it difficult to stay at the front?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, Colin Mooney is such a consistent rider, and he tries so hard. I mean, he's fallen off twice this weekend in practice. I fell off once in qualifying, but you know, he's pushing hard, and I know if I make one slip, he'll be past me, and that'll be it. But another great event, and just loving it, every minute of it.
Well, obviously it makes it a great event for us to see you guys battling out there, and I mean, it gives everybody hope. You know, no matter how old you are, you're not an old man, don't get me wrong, but you know, have you got somebody to thank?
Yeah, everybody, Jane, my partner, Ryan and the lads at the shop that keep shot running when I'm racing, and Chris Johnson for building the bike, and again, all the Thundersport staff. It's been a great event, difficult conditions, a few incidents, but they've tied it up great. Thanks a lot.
Race 2 for the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Super Sports coming up just after this break. Welcome back to Donington Park, the National Circuit. As you can see, the heavens have opened and it has started to rain. So this man here, Robert Goodall, the winner of race 1, has got it all to do now in slightly different conditions. Wet tyres, the order of the day then, also for number 18 there, Carl Foster. And yeah, he doesn't look all that happy about the conditions. It's not particularly pleasant out there now. And there is a gap on the front row. What has happened to Ryan Cooper, number 26, who came into this weekend third in the championship. He's not arrived on the grid here as we start this race, and that could be a problem for him somewhere out there. We'll have to find out what's going on, but at the moment, away they go from the line, and Foster it is that seems to have the advantage through turn one. Tiptoes for most of the riders here in the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Supersport and Steel Sport. As ever with wet races, you do have one or two candidates that will fancy their chances in these conditions. It's all about your confidence in your tyres. You do have to adjust your riding style. You have to really adjust the settings on your motorcycle. Not everyone does it, of course. That's not to say that you can't win a race without adjusting a few things, but softening everything up is really the order of the day. Foster leads from Andy Scanlon then. In third place there is number 36. That's Mark Foster from Scunthorpe. And so already you can see filtering to the surface one or two riders that just feel a lot happier in these conditions. There's number 11, Thomas Otter from Lincoln on the Yamaha R6. And nice and easy does it on the brakes, easy does it on the throttle. Avoid those white lines, avoid the curbs, and then just keep your concentration levels maximum. Clear visors as well, and Foster it is that has the lead, but already closing in on him there is Andy Scanlon, and you can just see from Andy Scanlon's riding style that he is one of those riders that obviously feels comfortable in the wet. There's number 2, Sam Nicholson from Nottingham, mentioned him earlier on in race 1. Sam might fancy his chances of a top 4 or 5 finish here. Martin Bloomfield's another one, number 28, who seems to have a decent riding style in these conditions, and there has been a change for the lead as the orange bike there of Andy Scanlon, maybe he was doing a rain dance between race 1 and 2 here, because he's definitely looking pretty comfortable out front as he gets past Carl Foster. Around Craner curves we go. You have to remember also, you have to get your corner speed dead right, because if you go into a corner too hot, you can't be grabbing a handful of brake, because you will be saying hello to a gravel trap or the grass. So it's getting everything absolutely precise. It's Andy Scanlon that leads then from Foster, then a gap already building there to third place rider number 36. That is Mark Foster. And then race 1 winner there, number 75, Robert Goodall. Now, looking at Robert Goodall's riding style that we picked up on in race 1, it did the business earlier, but the tight entries, well, it's worked there for him in Compass Corner. Wouldn't necessarily be the most advisable situation in these conditions. It's about smooth, sweeping lines, use the corner speed, not lots of handfuls of brake, as we watch here Andy Scanlon at work. And so far, he was a bit close to the curve there, but he is leading this race overall. Andy Scanlon, who left Brands Hatch on 37 points, could be on for a race win here. There's number 69 going up underneath number 19. A couple of rookies there with the orange vests on. 69 is Aaron Mellish, number 19 Jack Haverkamp. Jack, of course, who won the steel framed race earlier on. There's 1 or 2 steel frame machines out there fighting it out at the moment. Chris Spink, most notably the rider to look out for, number 142, who in this race so far has the advantage in the steel frames. This is Andy Scanlon though, number 24. You can just hear from the way he's winding up the power there. He's very soft on the throttle, but he's quicker to the throttle than those behind him at the moment. Foster is keeping him just about honest in second place, but that's about a 2 or 3 second lead that he has, and then another 2-3 seconds back to number 28 Martin Bloomfield from Tarporley on the EB Racing Yamaha, who's now up ahead of 75 Robert Goodall. And Robert Goodall, well, he'll know that he's had a good weekend so far, and it's all about the points. It's all about keeping the bike upright here. He knows he can't win this race, but finishing is the most important thing. Points make prizes. But Andy Scanlon, on the other hand, who wouldn't necessarily consider himself at this moment, at this early stage of the season, as a direct championship threat, might just put himself into the mix with a decent result here. There is the bright yellow and white machine of Martin Bloomfield in third place. Chris Spink it is that still leads the steel frame race. Rick Saville Mellish, we saw a little earlier on, fighting it out. Jack Haverkamp's out there. Ian Evans is doing well. Ian Evans, we saw him earlier, another steel frame rider on the Ducati, one of our British Army riders, is up inside the top 10. So Ian obviously quite happy and comfortable in these conditions. Around Craner curves and into the old hairpin we go. And even if you're good in the wet weather conditions, it's still not much fun racing in this. Further back there, you can see number 1, Neil Harvey, another of the steel frame riders on one of the old Honda CBRs. TNR Racing, Neil Harvey races for there, and he's got the number 1 plate on. That doesn't always mean that they're necessarily a reigning champion. If the number's not been taken by anyone, then of course you are allowed to take it if you want it. Number 18, it is there. Carl Foster, currently in 2nd place, the rider from Scunthorpe, who led the championship at the end of Brands Hatch. He's going to change for 3rd place then. Number 75, Robert Goodall, has now gone up into 3rd place ahead of Martin Bloomfield. This is the battle out front. Still the same gap between these two. They're lapping in around the 131s, 132s. To give you an idea as to how different the conditions are for these riders, they were lapping in the 116s, 115s, 116s earlier, so that's a good 15 seconds slower in these conditions than they were in the dry. So everything just being softened up here. Andy Scanlon, though, in control of the race so far. Stubble Racing rider up ahead of number 18, Foster. Foster seems to be at some corners just closing that gap down, and then others opening it up again, but he won't want to do anything too silly to try and close the gap down, because it is ever so easy for things to go wrong. There is Chris Spink, number 142, leading the steel frame competitors out there on the Honda, having a bit of a lonely race, but he won't mind that if he's standing on the top step overall at the end of things. Races like this, they tend to split riders up, as we just see there. Scanlon putting a lap on Nathan Sackelt. The last lap flag is out. You don't really want to be getting yourself involved in too many battles in conditions like this. You just want to concentrate on your own business, because it is all about concentration and confidence. In the background there, that battle for 3rd continues and could go to the line. Here it is, number 75, race 1 winner Robert Goodall, and then in 4th place Martin Bloomfield, number 28. Now, unlike the 2 riders out front that can probably cruise round, Bloomfield here won't want to finish 4th. He wants a trophy for his efforts, and so he might just throw caution to the wind here and try something special on the final lap. Oh, there's 3 riders coming up here for Andy Scanlon, who leads this race, and that's the worst news possible. He'll just try and dispatch of those in the best place possible. Further back there is number 2, Sam Nicholson. Sam is up there in 6th place, up ahead of Rick Saville. And number 1 is catching them there, Neil Harvey as well, one of the other steel frame riders. So that race there for 5th, 6th, 7th not over. But there's been no stopping this man out front. The wet weather has visited us, and it's not pleasant, but it's certainly proved to be welcome for Andy Scanlon, who's about to actually lap Haverkamp and goes across the line to take the checkered flag. It's a decent win, that, in really horrible conditions for Andy Scanlon on the Yamaha, and 2nd place is going to go to Carl Foster, and then it's going to be close across the line, and Martin Bloomfield has done it. Bloomfield has managed to get 3rd place on the final lap ahead of Robert Goodall and take some precious points away from Robert. Chris Spink it is that finishes in 5th then, number 142, and wins the steel frame race. There you see Scanlon the winner from Foster on the left and Martin Bloomfield on the right, and then in the steel frames Chris Spink the winner ahead of Neil Harvey and Rick Saville. The points going into Snetterton then. Nice advantage there for Carl Foster ahead of Robert Goodall. Points do make prizes. Cooper 3rd there despite not being out in the race, and Andy Scanlon has got himself to within 11 points there of him in 4th. Brad Davey leads the Golden Era Steel Sports ahead of Jack Haverkamp. Chris Spink's win has lifted him up into 3rd ahead of Evans, Goodsell and Mellish.
Quite funny, we were just chatting away there, and you said you're nervous about going on the TV. You're not nervous about racing round in those conditions, but...
No, normally not very good in the wet, but for some reason today and on Friday for Saturday for qualifying, just seemed to click. Normally not any good in the wet, but enjoyed it.
I reckon that's that C. That looked lovely with stockings and suspenders, I have to say. Chris, who have you got to thank?
I'd like to thank family. Got no sponsors, but like to thank family. I'd also like to dedicate the win to Lee Vernon, Ian Alkins, Jake Hingley, and a mate that I lost a long time ago, Leo.
It's very nice. I can see you're emotional. Well done. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Andy, great to see you back up here. You've been trying hard for quite some time to get on this top step, but it's, you know, you've done a great job in really difficult conditions.
I've always been one I enjoyed the wet. So when I first started back on the CB days, like my best results were always in the wet, and I do enjoy it when it levels it. So the bike's not quite as quick as some of the others out there, so it levels it a little bit. But I just really enjoyed that. It was good fun.
I can see by the grin from ear to ear. Have you got anyone to thank?
Yeah. Best one, I want to thank my dad. He's been the biggest help I could ever help. Also, I want to thank Nick and the guys at who have we got on here? We've got everyone. We've got Print Me a Tee, we've got Perfect Coating and Pertline Motorcycle Oils. I'd like to thank all of them. Thanks for getting us here. And the guys at Headley Body Shop and MPM Signs. Big thanks to everyone. All help towards this.
Join us again after the break for the final race of the show, the Sparklight Racing Golden Era Superbikes and Street Fighters. Welcome back to Donington Park for the final race of the Thundersport Plus show. There is Richard Blunt, number 13, who won race 1. Of course, wet tyres now being put on the Portico Kawasaki. See in the background there Andrew Windsor, number 30. There's John Dieterman, who came through in the end to take second place overall. And then Ryan Strafford as well. Number 37 there is Vince Carlton on the Ducati. A couple of riders missing from the grid to point out. No Chris Martin, no Nick Williamson. High rate of attrition for some, others have gone home early. The weather's just disgusting, not everyone's decided to go out. It was windy this morning, we knew the rain was coming, and here it is. So there's a chance for some big points here for everyone. And already Ryan Strafford there looks quite aggressive, number 57 on the Honda SP2. And Ryan Strafford, who's normally quite comfortable in the wet conditions, could potentially smell a victory here. We saw last year in Street Fighters when the going got tough weather-wise, the tough got going and he picked up a number of race wins, but Richard Blunt himself not too bad in the wet usually. As they go down into the old hairpin then for the first time, there's Dan Baton, number 78, just up alongside number 35, Mark Bizel. There is 78, and out front it's Richard Blunt then that has the lead. He won race 1, he's looking to extend that championship lead. Then it's Strafford, then it's Dieterman, number 18, then Windsor, then Stanier. It's number 44, Mick Riddle, one of the other Street Fighter riders. Number 34, there is Adrian Teasdale. And then once more, number 35, Mark Biswell. Oh, and there's a rider down. There's a couple of... There's Martin Stanier has gone down. And that's Paul Cunvin as well, isn't it? Martin Stanier and Paul Cunvin have both gone down on the exit of McLean. So the two riders at the top end of the Street Fighter table in race 1 and for the large part of last year have gone down there on the exit of McLean's corner. Bad news for them. Now the leaders go through your picture. There's number 40. Welcome back to the paddock, Smithy. Keith Smith, Mr. Potato Head, out there on that Ducati. Another rider who back in his day could win a race in the wet, of course. The former Street Fighter champion. There's number 57, Ryan Strafford, ahead of John Dieterman. Where has Richard Blunt gone? Richard Blunt has disappeared altogether. Blunt's not there. He was leading the race halfway around the first lap, and Richard Blunt has gone AWOL. Well, now then, that's a turn up for the book. So Ryan Strafford it is that leads overall. Number 57 ahead of number 18, John Dieterman, and then number 30, Andrew Windsor. And Ryan Strafford here is eyeing up his first victory in this Sparklight Racing Golden Era Superbike class. Leading the Street Fighters, well, with Stanier and Cunvin out on the opening lap, that must mean Mick Riddle is leading overall. He's up inside the top 10. There's number 4, Dominic Clegg. He's up ahead of Keith Smith. And there is Mick Riddle. So Mick Riddle is leading the Street Fighters overall. Keith Smith, look at him. I mean, Ducati, I've got to tell you, those Ducatis are pretty nimble and small bikes for their age. And Keith Smith is making that look enormous. He's such a tiny guy, isn't he? He's such a tiny guy. In height, that is, not in width. At number 57... That is Ryan Strafford that has the lead on the Honda SP2 up ahead of the backseat Yamaha of John Dieterman. Dieterman will have seen what's happened in this race so far in terms of chaos and will be keen to pick up as many points as possible. Windsor's doing a good job there in third place, but Ryan Strafford will be desperate to get that first race win in the class. Of course, last year and the year before, he spent time in the Golden Era Super Sport and in the Street Fighter class. Further back there is Richie Harrison, number 48. That's Keith Smith just to the right of him. Number 85 in the mix is Ben Hollingworth. And then there is the Royal Air Force Motorsports Association sponsored machine of Mick Riddle. This is that group again. Harrison there, Richard Harrison, who's of course got picked up that nasty injury back at Anglesey last year. I mean, just for finishing this race, these guys are going to be on for some big points. We've had quite a high attrition rate in this race so far already, with Gareth Skinner, Martin Stanier, Paul Cunfin, Richard Blunt and Rob Pragnell all exiting the scene. This is Mick Riddle, and he will have seen that both Stanier and Cunfin went down, so he'll know that he's leading the Street Fighter race. This is the overall leader, though. Look at the concentration there and the clear visor for Ryan Strafford, a completely different machine that he's racing this year to what he's used to racing, of course. This is Windsor in third place. He's being caught here a bit. Dominic Clegg in fourth place on the HB Motorcycle Suzuki number 4 is closing down, having got past Keith Smith and put a bit of distance between him. Ben Hollingworth, one of the Royal Marine riders on the Ducati number 85 we saw a moment ago, is now fighting with Smithy. But this is the overall outright race win they're fighting for. Number 57, Ryan Strafford from Murfield on that Honda SP2, and just closing in on him at the moment, John Dieterman from Preston on the backseat Yamaha. Around Schwantz Curve and then in towards McLean's Corner. And now Dieterman just trying to weigh up whereabouts he wants to make that move. Uphill now towards Coppice Corner. Blind entry this one. You tip right. It's very slightly negative camber through there as well. It's very easy to lose the front end. And then onto the back straight. John Dieterman here trying to get himself in the slipstream. The only problem with getting in the slipstream in these conditions is, of course, the spray that you get onto the visor. The visibility very, very poor, so you've got to get it absolutely right. John Dieterman at the moment, it's one thing catching Ryan Strafford, it's going to be another entirely trying to find a way past. When you decide that you're going to try and outbrake someone in these conditions, it can get rather tricky. There's number 30, Andrew Windsor, who at the moment is still in third place ahead of Dominic Clegg. Ben Hollingworth has got himself up ahead of Keith Smith. Richie Harrison's then 7th. Then Mick Riddle, who leads the Street Fighters, up ahead of Mark Biswell. Then it's Andrew Barling and Adrian Teasdale and Andy Castle. Here you can see, in fact, Smith's got back up ahead of number 85 there, Hollingworth. And Richie Harrison's got himself in the middle of them. He's out there on that melted slider Suzuki for this year. Of course, the Pearson brothers racing in those colours, last year's champion, and now we can see number 18, John Dieterman, trying to eye up a move somewhere around. You can see those red lights on the back of the machines. That's the new lights for 2015, compulsory for all riders at Thundersport GB for 2015, and handy when you're in these conditions, certainly at the starts of races anyway, when you can't see very much. Big gap there back to 5th place, and it's still to Mr. Potato Head, number 40 there, Keith Smith from Fish Lake on the QC Engineering Ducati 916, up ahead of another Ducati, but this is the battle for the win. Last lap flag out then for Ryan Strafford. He's just a lap away from winning his first Golden Era Superbike race, and if he can do it, he will have got himself well up there in the championship as well. He's a race winner in Golden Era Supersport, a race winner Street Fighter Extreme, a race winner in Street Fighter B, and now he's looking to add another class victory to his name, Ryan Strafford, with a Golden Era Superbike win on the Honda SP2. So there we see that SP2 of Ryan Strafford. Of course, he wouldn't necessarily be expecting to pick up the full points here this weekend. The rain certainly helping him out in terms of it being a level playing field, as John Dieterman on the slightly more powerful Yamaha looking for a way through. It's a work in progress, that bike of Ryan Strafford's. He's looking to make some additions to it to get it a bit more power out of it, ready for the future rounds. And then you could potentially see him fighting for this championship in the latter stages of the season. We'll wait and see. There's number 85 has gone through Hollingworth. So Keith Smith there now falling into the trap of Richie Harrison, and then Mick Riddle. Mick Riddle's just got half a lap to go then, and he'll win the Street Fighter race. Already looking over his shoulder, but Ryan Strafford is going to do it, surely. As he exits Roberts chicane, Strafford has won his first Golden Era Superbike race. Could that be the first of many? He goes across the line there ahead of John Dieterman, and he's absolutely delighted with that one. A proper character in the paddock is Ryan, and he's back to winning ways, and probably a little earlier than he expected. There he is, half a second ahead then, confirmed, of John Dieterman, with Andrew Windsor third, Clegg fourth, Hollingworth fifth, and Keith Smith in sixth place. There's the top three, a very happy Strafford there on the top step next to John Dieterman and Andy Windsor, and in the Street Fighters, Mick Riddle, the winner from Mark Biswell and Adrian Teasdale. Now then, the points, standings. Richard Blunt lost out there, didn't he? John Dieterman it is, that leads with 161. Then it's Blunt in second. Ryan Strafford is within touching distance there in third, ahead of Andrew Windsor. Those four really going well. And in the Street Fighters, Paul Cunliffe with a 10-point lead over Mick Riddle. And in third, it's Adrian Teasdale, then Andy Castle, Lee Hutchinson and Rob Cracknell.
It's a tough field out there. There is no doubt about it. There is some quality riders out there. Some nice bits of kit, but you know, the front guys, they are fast. They really are. As soon as I saw the rain coming in this afternoon, I knew it would be a level playing field. It's a shame that Blunty crashed. I saw that he was all right, but I could run his pace on the off. So I was just watching my pit boards all the way through, +1, +half, and I was comfortable at that. So I've got to thank the crew. They kept me honest. It's been an awesome race, and you know what? I'm having that top step next round at Snap.
Who do you want to thank?
I've got to thank Continental straight off. The tyres are absolutely fantastic. In wet conditions like this, couldn't ask for anything better. KDC, Access Drilling, Held Leathers, and of course the family that's come up from Cornwall this weekend to support me. You know, thank you very much.
Mick Riddle, top step. I can't believe it.
It's been a long time too.
2 years, eh? Wow.
Yeah, fantastic. Obviously, I prefer to beat Paul and Martin fair and square, but unfortunately, I crashed. Hope they're all right. But it's just a matter of staying on, really. Smithy came past me, so I just tagged onto him and followed him. A bit like the old days, really.
But you say that, I mean, you're being too hard on yourself. You know, you've got to be in it to win it. To finish first, you have to finish. I mean, like, when somebody bins it, you've beaten them. That's it. You've beat them fair and square, mate.
Yeah, well, if you put it that way, said then, yeah, great. I'll take the win.
Anybody to thank?
Yeah, Christine from Cougar Leathers, the RAF Motorsports Association, and that's it, really, to be honest.
Good lad. Well done, mate.
Thanks very much.
That's it from us here at Donington Park for round two. Hopefully the sun will be shining though at Snetterton in Norfolk. That's where we head to next. Join us then.